episode 56, the sick episode. Tis the season to get sick. All right. Hey, everyone. I probably should not record a podcast episode right now. It's not like I have anyone telling me that I have to. There's no external pressure on me, but I do have this, I don't know, internal pressure or like creator pressure or gene. I don't know what it is. But I have this pressure to pump out content. It's a really weird feeling. I don't know if I can explain it. I haven't fully wrapped my head around this, so I'll just say, welcome to episode 56. Um, I'm glad to say I'm not deathly ill. I just had a stomach bug, and I'm actually on the upswing. But I took 2 whole days off work, and if you told me that I had 2 sick days from work, I would have said awesome. I probably did so much hobby stuff. I probably made fun reels. I probably had fun podcast recordings. I bought cards. I listed cards up on eBay. I finally got my holiday special PSA submission in that I have been holding on to this submission for way too many months. Um, I did none of those things because I did actually end up just sleeping to try and recuperate. But here I am on the upswing, trying to make this episode. Gonna try and set up my maybe not my next few, maybe next few, but my next 2 episodes. Um, but yeah, I wanted to before I set those up, I wanted to say about comping cards and listing up for eBay. I I think like a lot of people, or I don't know, I have no pulse on the hobby. I'm in somewhat of a sell mode, at least for me, because we all talk about the market is falling, the sky is falling, Chicken Little, and you know even if that wasn't the case, I do think that at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, there's gonna be like New Year's resolutions and everyone saying they're gonna do this or that, but I think I am taking literal and figurative inventory of my cards, and I do realize that I have too many cards that have lost meaning to me. Not that I regret purchasing them, but made me happy, bought them, traded for them, and then I'm like, I can let these go. So just to, I don't know, not only get liquid or make money, but just to make more transactions, make more relationships in the hobby, because yes, you can have a non-transactional relationship with folks in the hobby, but we all know that once you make a deal, you're building trust with people little by little. Trade by trade, deal by deal, card by card. So, this isn't. I really didn't plan for this to be a plug for any sponsor. And by the way, I do plan to make a podcast episode about getting sponsored by. I mean, I've said it on my Instagram reel, so I'll say it here. My card post and an arena club do plan to make a podcast episode, a solo about that in the near future. But I really am, and it's not because they're paying me to say this, but I really am enjoying those two marketplaces with not just the buying, but the selling and the trading. Because for example, this isn't like a wholesale knock on Whatnot, but there was a recent Whatnot. I don't know what it was, 2.0, 3.0 show, and it was just like a regular Whatnot weekend. I mean, for all intents and purposes, and what people told me, because I haven't logged into Whatnot in forever, but I was told, yeah, it's just a regular weekend, and there's a lot more selling, and they're trying to market it and trying to publicize it, but ultimately, what you're doing is you're just jumping into a stream as a consumer, and you're just buying. For me, a card show, if they want to call it a Whatnot card show, can you do any trading? Can you do any selling? As a consumer, you can't. It's just a one-way street. It's a stream. There's a person on the stream, and they're trying to sell you cards or a break or whatever it is. So again, this isn't a wholesale knock on Whatnot, but I think it is certainly a critique, my personal, my opinion critique on what could maybe be considered somewhat misleading marketing because it's not, a card show is about buying, selling, and trading, or I should say BTS, buying, trading, and selling. So, which by the way was my highest, well, my Spotify Wrapped tells me it was my highest listened to episode for this past year, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know how they do all the numbers, but I'll get to that maybe in a future episode. Okay, so as I okay, I'll take a break in a little bit. Uh, so I do feel better, but so long as I am on the upswing, I'm recording this on December 7th. It is a Thursday evening. Saturday and Sunday, there are two card shows. They're both pretty small, but I do plan to set up as a dealer at one of them. I think it's going to be the Saturday show. It's going to be in Fairfax, and the other one's in Annandale, and that's Sunday, both in Virginia. I think I'm going to go without pricing any of my cards, not just because it's just I don't want to, but here's my strategy. I think, I'll bring like 50 to, yeah, somewhere 50 plus 50 to 75. I have no clue. I've not counted out my cards and what I'm going to bring, but being sick definitely took its time, took hobby time, family time, everything, work time, just derailed my plans. But I'll bring cards and they're going to range somewhere, nothing. I don't even know how many cards I have, over like $200 or whatever it is, but I'll bring cards ranging from 20 to $200. But I know my card market, or I know my card scene, my local card scene, and I just know that there's just so many people who just come up and they just, it's not just my local card scene. It's probably everywhere where people just pull up 130 point, they pull up card ladder, market movers, whatever they want to pull up. None of them are sponsors. But they're just gonna look it up anyway. So I guess maybe I'm just taking a really laissez-faire approach to this, but in my opinion, I'm just kind of like, why take the time to why bother pricing my cards out? Because they're just gonna point to the comp anyway. So then it's a matter of how much percentage or raw dollar amount are we gonna dance around that? Plus or minus 20%, 10%, $10, $5. I have no clue, but I just know that it's not like I'll just say, hey, this card's, worth $100, and they'll be like, okay, sure, I'll pay $100. Like, that's just not going to happen. So it's just something that I'm going to try out. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but whatever. Just going to give it a shot. I have not been a vendor in a really long time. Um, okay. I think I need to take a break here. Maybe this is where I put my first sponsored ad. Yeah. All right. This is gonna be really cool, I think. And again, I'll use a episode in the future about why, or not why, but yeah. Here's a sponsor read. Hey, card fam. You ever feel that sting like I have when you sell a card online only to see 12 to 14% of your hard earned money just vanish in seller fees? It's almost like a penalty for using online platforms. But here's the game changer: My Card Post. Instead of those frustrating fees on every sale, I just pay a small monthly subscription. So that way, I get to keep a lot more in my pocket. My Card Post is a place where collectors like us come together. It's about building new relationships in a trusted community where we can all safely buy, trade, and sell. BTS. And that's what I'm about: community building and safe transactions. If you want to join, it's free to set up an account if you only want to buy. But if you want to sell and trade as well, you can get started for as little as $9 a month. And I got to hook you up for listening. Use promo code Denny when you join, and you'll get 30% off your first 3 months. And I'm already there. I have my shop. I'm buying, trading, and selling, and most importantly, connecting. So go to mycardpost.com and use my promo code Denny, Denny. Come check it out. I think you'll really like it. So see you there where my card post every night is trade night. Okay, thanks for listening to that. I was actually really excited to make that recording, and I've been sitting on it for a while. But I thought, you know what, just put it out there, just put it out there, and then explain it later. All right, so not going to get into the whole sponsor thing. Thank you for listening to that. I actually don't want to record today, but the more I consume content, and I was listening to Cage Lawyer, and he had a recent episode out, and he was like so excited about Juan Soto being traded from the Padres to the Yankees, and yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Yankee fans. I'm not. Uh, it when it comes to the Yankees Red Sox rivalry, I'll side towards the Yankees mainly because my mother-in-law is a diehard Yankee fan. So I'm going to whatever makes her happy makes me happy. So, but the thing is, for me, and by the way, Cage Lawyer, he won't come on my podcast for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying, guys. Um, my connection with Juan Soto is that I am in the DC area, and so when the Nationals won the championship in 2019, that really was a special moment, especially for this just title hungry team, not team, area. And so, I'm not a diehard Nats fan or even a diehard baseball fan, but I was really happy for my friends and family and people in the area who are. And I will say I can't remember which game it was. I think it was Game 4, but that year it was the NLDS. I think I don't think it was the NLCS, but it was against the Dodgers, and I was at that game. I went with a friend, and we had some decent seats down the third base line, kind of like between third base and outfield, but pretty like low level. Like we got I mean, he got some really good seats. I have friends who have really good seats. I don't have good seats. I have friends who have good seats. And so, we went together, and I think we both looked at each other thinking this could be the last game of that season. And then they just ended up having a magical run. And I wanted to get World Series tickets that year, but I think standing room only was like 800 a piece, and of course I'm not going to go by myself. So, if I bring, not if, but yeah, if I went, I was gonna certainly bring like my wife, and that's 1,600 total, not including what the fees, right? So it's probably like $1,000. Man, they always get you with those fees at the end. And then, of course, what is it? That was the World Series when the home team they lost every single season. Not season, jeez, my brain is not all there. The home team lost every single game of that World Series. So what was it? The Nats versus the Trash Pandas, the Trash Can Pandas, the Astros with their little choo-choo train going around the stadium. That's really cute. Um, but yeah, I mean, imagine being like going to that, paying all that money to go to like three of those games, and they just lose every single one. That's just, oh man, unbelievable. So anyway, got energy. I didn't want to make this episode, but I was listening to Cage, the Soto thing, and then I happened to have this quick little DM with a fellow podcaster. Uh, I should I say who it? Yeah, I mean, I was gonna initially just say it's his name is Nebraska Dan, but I think that that's going to be kind of ridiculous. So, yes, I am talking about Iowa Dave. Shout out to Iowa Dave if you're listening to this. And he had in his stories on Instagram like truly a beautiful, beautiful 2021 Topps Chrome Juan Soto Gold Refractor PSA 10. And see, by the way, for people who say I don't talk about cards on this podcast, I do. See, I just mentioned the card name. So this this card, it's a picture of Juan Soto in his Nats uniform, but with his back to the camera, and it's just like a really unconventional shot, for for a card or for just any athlete, but it was very you know, like artistic in that way, like just kind of like, you know, exit stage left. And so Dave, I did have to screen grab this, and and I will read it right now, into the record here, of course. But I really like what he wrote, and then I'll mention why I'm talking about this. So he wrote, "When I got back into the hobby, I bought more of Soto than of any other player. I was following the trends, that's all. When he was traded to the city where bats go to die, which is awesome, San Diego, I sold nearly everything. No regrets." Or I would say no regrets. No regrets. I was buying him for all the wrong reasons. This is my only remaining Soto, which is the 2021 Topps Chrome. What he also says, I love the artistry, I love the gold, and I have no plans to buy more. I'm glad he's out of San Diego, or should I say San Diego. I'm not going to mention what they say in Anchorman. I'm trying to keep this clean. Excited to watch him in the Bronx. So, I mean, I thought that was really nicely written. I mean, Iowa Dave already knows how much I like his stuff, and so that led me to just, you know, stories, just do a reaction thing, and I cry emoji or something. And so I DM'd Dave, you know, I'm a Nats fan, and then he wrote Soto, Harper, Trey, Scherzer, Strasburg. All of those players have left the Nationals. And he didn't mention Rendon, which is interesting. And of course, Strasburg. Oh my gosh, like the orchid. That's what Tony Kornheiser calls him, because he's so beautiful when he blooms and he's healthy. And as some of you may know, orchids are very difficult to keep alive. So, oh, Strasburg. All right. So, in response to the naming of all these athletes who have left, by their own recognizance or not, I just wrote 2019 was worth it. So, why do I bring all this up? And I'm not going to go into all the DMs that Dave and I talked about there, but it's really interesting because I then kind of posited this question to him, and we just kind of had a nice little quick chat before, you know, we both had to go our separate ways. Me to just go back to sleep. But I asked him, would you rather be like those Nats or be like the current Yankees? So let me explain. This is like a sports fan thought experiment. And I actually used to do this back like in the uh, early 2000s. You know, when I would just frequent more sports bars and, you know, just kind of like just talking, you know, with some drinks and all that. So I used to do this back with what was then called the Florida Marlins, which, because what are they, the Miami Marlins and the Atlanta Braves. So the question that I would have for folks was, would you rather root for a team that is perennially in the playoffs but can never win the whole thing for an entire decade, a 10-year stretch, or which is the Atlanta Braves, by the way, or would you rather root for a team where they win a ring 1 year but be the absolute worst or like just terrible the other 9 years? And I mean, I hope Dave doesn't mind me saying, but he said title, hands down, without a question. So, as the listener to this podcast right now, thank you for listening. You may immediately have an answer, and you may think that your answer is a no brainer. How could anyone else pick the other answer? But having asked this question a lot in my, again, those days in my 20s, sports bar drinking days, I think that it's pretty 50-50 based on what I remember. I really think it does depend on the sport and your affinity for the team. Because if you are a diehard baseball fan and you're talking long seasons, game after game, you know, home stretches, and you know, just the dog days of summer, etc., all of that, I think you may lean more towards the perennial contender choice, the Atlanta Braves, or the current like New York Yankees. You always think you're gonna like win and you don't. Whereas on the flip side, if you are talking about, and I don't want to say like casual fan or like less diehard fan, but let's say more of a fan of like football or even basketball, you may lean towards the one glorious year and being a trash can panda, trash can panda the rest of the 9 years because you just want that one ring, right? Just that one glorious year. So I guess I brought that up because the Juan Soto trade. This is when if I was very tethered to my structure of I must talk about this topic with the chapters. I might not talk about this, but it's topical, and I may like never go back to that old format. I don't know. I'm still figuring things out, but I did want to posit that question. When I was sick, I did fall behind my DMs and Instagram, but I want to hear from you as you're listening to this. If you want to take a moment and pause, which would you pick? Maybe I put it up in my stories because I think if you're on one side of that and you're resolute, you may think that is completely the right answer. Oh, go for the ring, go for the ring. Or, oh, why would I root for, like I don't want to be the Florida Marlins, Wayne Huizenga, just build a championship team and then just, fire sale it and just immediately. But I'd be really interested to hear. Okay. I'm gonna try and power through this. No break, no rest, no sponsored ad read here. Okay, so turning to the next few episodes, just a complete quick pivot. Um, the episode right after this one, uh, so this one I think is gonna be called episode 56, and then episode 57 is going to be a recording that I did with Jesse Gibson, who I call the better half of the Sports Card Nonsense podcast. And I think that's going to be a really good timing for that because the repack episodes, it wasn't like it was like a heavy, difficult, topic. It was just there's a lot of information, and some people may have really enjoyed it. Some people, I think, they were just done. They were just like, I don't want to hear about any more repacks, and I get it, but I wanted to learn more, and it's not like I went after listening to those and immediately started buying repacks. I still haven't I'm still kind of like I have a budget, so but I think the podcast episode that I recorded with him is a pretty light and fun one, and it's kind of like a where are they now? So it's kind of like I had him on before, just wanted to catch up, see how he is, and so I recorded that episode a couple of weeks back. And then, of course, like the repack episodes, they took priority because they were a hot button topic. But I'm finally ready to release it as my next episode after this one. So that'll be 57. And then for 58, I have not yet released or published my second half of my Dan the Great Curator episode. And that one, it's interesting because we recorded that like really like right around Halloween time. And what is this? December 7th. So like more than a month. And that it's not completely attributable to just repacks. Um I mean, not that it matters. It's not like someone's angry at me for not releasing that, and it's not like he said something so salacious. Although I don't know, but I had the Veterans Day special with Alex. If you're listening to this, Alex, shout out to you. Thank you so much. Then I had Hobby Outsider, TK, which I'm sure he's not listening to this, so it's fine. But that took priority because I went to a Ravens game with him, and so I wanted to release that episode. And then the whole sports card therapist Rob G episode happened. My HVAC burned out, and I had to replace that. So I just had all these different reasons. So it's been a month. It's been quite a month or two, I will say. Um, so that should be episode 58, and I'm kind of playing around with the idea of just releasing all of them tonight because this whole like I don't know, people are like, "Oh, you got to keep to a schedule and you got to meter it out." And it's like drop episodes at the same time every week. Like, I don't know, just I'm sure there's a good reason for all that, but I just feel like it's convention for convention's sake. And so I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like just doing what I want, I guess. What is that, Cartman? I do what I want. Finally, on tap is a recording that I want to do, which is an end of year in grading review with Ryan from GemRate, who kind of is like where are they now type of thing. I had him on earlier, but I thought it might be really fun to do a recap of the year. Oh my gosh, I had such a fun name for that episode, and I can't find it right now. I wrote it down somewhere. I'm trying to remember it. This is probably where I should like pause, but no. It was a. It's one of those things. I thought it was really funny. I can't remember it, so we will get to that when I get there. I'll probably have to DM Ryan and ask him what I said. But that's going to be a episode that I want to do the next, you know, December recording. And then a solo episode about taking on sponsorships. That's on tap. Another solo episode I have is why I got into hockey cards for a bit. I don't know. That's it. I'm really tired. I I probably should not have recorded this, but what's done is done. Um, I'm just gonna take this podcast wherever the wind takes me. That's the approach I've taken this whole time. It's gotten me here, wherever this is. It's been a lot of fun. I know that. It's been really great having some really interesting, amazing guests on. People who I probably have not right to, because I think we're all equals, but like, it's pretty I don't know, flattering or great. It's not me. I think it's them. For them to say yes to just a new podcast, I think it's very nice of the people I've had on so far, which also says a lot about Cage for not coming on. Just gonna say that. Yeah. So I think that this is a good place to end. Thank you for listening. I'll do like a end of year thing. I just told you the next podcast episodes that are coming out, probably like the next like 7. And then we'll just see where 2024 takes us. So thank you again for listening. Thank you in all the different languages, Dankeschön, and Kamsahamnida and all that. And yeah, um, I'm gonna probably go to sleep now.